Hello viewers, this video is to announce the launch of the official 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s Discord chat room. This will be run by myself in conjunction with, so far we have two moderating staff members, the H and the Colin. This is something I've wanted to do for quite some time, and the last time the idea came up, we just decided to finally make it happen. So here it is. This is, of course, going to focus on these three decades, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. There's a bunch of different categories that we've put on here now, and each category does also have a post and pre those three decades. So this, while it focuses on those three decades, this server is going to be quite inclusive and broad and will encompass quite a bit of time and quite a bit of different material as well. This is the first time that I've run one of these chat rooms. The H has some experience in doing this, but it's going to be a learning experience for me. And like most of the other material that I put on the internet, if it comes up that a number of people think that we should do something differently, or if you think we should add categories, or what have you, we can bring that up for discussion and figure it out. Nothing on here is necessarily set in stone at this time. It's definitely going to be kind of a learn as we go process, but I tend to think that we've got everything laid out pretty good as far as the categories go. We all three of us kind of deliberated this for a while and decided on this format. So this is going to be available to anybody that wants to join. However, there is going to be an application process because this needs to be controlled. It's not going to end up like the comments box where it's just out of control and full of garbage and ridiculous, outrageous people. This is going to be kept under control so that this can be let's say a clean, but a good, wholesome community of people that like these topics in this time frame. And I'd like this to be a really great collection of conversations and photographs and videos and instructions on how to fix things and stuff like that. So in order to join, what you'll need to do is send me an email to allnewappliancesarejunk@gmail.com. If you don't have an email address, you can also send a message to me on the Discord. My username is skate4g number 1338. And what you will need to do in that message is answer these questions. And the purpose of these questions is to try to weed out people that don't belong here. My hope is that a spammer who is just joining this to wreak havoc and cause problems would not spend the time to fabricate answers to these questions, and if they did, I would hope that we'd be able to see through it. So in the message, either email, I prefer an email because it's easier to sort it out, either in the email or in the message, you need to include your name. Now, I understand there's some people, we have a moderator who falls into this category, that don't like to put their legal name on the internet. That's fine. If you're one of those people, you can also use a nickname or a username. I would prefer at least the first name and the last initial, just so that it's easier to refer to people so we know who you are. All these other ones are pretty self-explanatory. The ones that are asterisked are required, so you also need to tell how did you find out about the server. Primarily it's going to be through the link, which I'll deal with in a minute. Where did you find the link? Was it posted in a video description? Did somebody email it to you? Did somebody tell you about the server? Was the server mentioned in the video, etc.? We need to know what subject matters you're interested in. don't have to tell us how long you've been collecting. Not everybody here is even going to be a collector. I'm sure there's plenty of people on here that are going to have an interest in these subject matters and don't collect a single item at all. Number 10 and number 11 are going to be like the primary deciding questions as far as access to the server goes, because if you answer these two questions legitimately, then we kind of know that you're here for the right reasons. So why do you want to be a member, and what are you going to contribute to the group? And this doesn't have to be like a paragraph novel answer. A sentence or two can provide a perfectly good answer to these questions. And then number 12, you have to indicate that you have read our regulations, that you agree to the fact that we can grant or remove access at our discretion with no further explanation required. And then if you have any other comments, you can provide them at that time. As far as the regulations go on this server, this isn't the kindergarten. We're not going to sit here and spell everything out. We shouldn't have to. These are all common sense items. But I'll just go through these real quick just to make sure that it's clear. So we're not going to permit these claims about vintage items being inefficient or should be replaced just because they're old, because in a community of people that's trying to talk about that stuff because they enjoy it, that kind of commentary is just irrelevant. Number 2, irrelevant requests for personal information. You can't pester people for their names if they don't want to provide them, their phone numbers, their addresses. That's ridiculous. And number 3, no politics. There's so many things today that have turned political that really shouldn't be, and it's toxic. And this channel, or this chat room, whatever you call it, is not going to be on that list of items. Now, there are certain political statements, I guess, in certain contexts. Like, for example, you could say the government banned X refrigerant on this date. Like, that's a factual piece of information. That's fine. But stuff beyond that, it's not going to be permitted. You do need to maintain relevance in the particular channel. Some of it has overlap. Okay, like for example, we have an appliances channel, and you could consider ceiling fans an appliance. You could consider HVAC an appliance. You could consider humidifiers an appliance. But if we have a dedicated category for that particular item, it needs to go in there and not in the broad category. And that the purpose of that is to make it easier to find if we're compiling pictures and information and so forth. Number 5 is trying to avoid like a Jonah Musto situation where you just blast your videos or whatever material out there all the time just to get views. If you have a video that answers a question or something that's good quality and it's relevant, post it by all means. But not everything is going to have a relevant video. It doesn't have to. And if you just keep blasting your videos out there, we're going to have an issue. Okay, number 6. This happens in the comments box kind of often. You get these people in there that claim that they know about something, or they just speculate, or they produce an idea and they say, this is how this is, when in reality they're just theorizing that that's how that is. There's nothing wrong with producing theories and thoughts. That's a lot of times how you solve problems. But just write, I think, before the statement. And then it's not misguiding people. Number 7, you can't be rude, can't be degrading, can't be disrespectful. Number 8, you have to deal with people that think differently than you do. The whole world functions that way. The whole world thinks differently. And you just have to deal with it. It is what it is. There's no reason that anybody in this group should not be able to interact with somebody else just because they think about the world differently. That's not an intelligent response to that person or the world around you. Spam is not permitted. That should be obvious. And the discussion of spammers is not going to be permitted either. I don't want to see any conversations about Billy False or whatever, because that stuff is irrelevant here. This is not going to have any spam in this group. And then number 10, Don't upload illegal material. Don't put illegal software in there. Don't put, pornography in there. Things like that. And that's it. They're all just common sense items. So that's it. The link is here. This is the link. I will post this link into the video description that nobody reads, but you're going to have to read it now because that's where the link is. And if you go to this link, that will take you to this landing channel where you'll see this information. Submit your application in, and then the three of us will review it. The way it's going to work is myself, Colin, and the letter H will be reviewing these requests, and at least 2 out of 3 of us have to agree that you should be let in. And if we reach that agreement, then you'll be granted access to the rest of the channels here. So that's how it's going to work, and I hope you enjoy the chat room.